Man, if y'all were just here, I literally just had a whole worship session. Like, I don't know if I've said it before in any of my other episodes, but I am a Christian. And the Spirit of the Lord just be moving. And when I tell you, before I got on here to record this episode, I said, Lord, first of all, I've been having conversations with people, like real honest conversations with people today. And I'm talking about so honest that, like, that honest that you get with people that you're just like, I don't know if you're gonna like me no more after I say this, or I don't know if you can handle this, because that type of honesty that opens the door that other person is just gonna have to be honest too, or is just gonna be awkward for the rest of y'all's lives. That type of honest. That's how honest I was this morning when I was talking to a few friends, and I knew that this was the perfect day for me to film this episode. I feel like I've been dealing with this issue probably for about 2 weeks was when I got the revelation about it. And I was like, oh, like I really felt like this is what the next podcast episode should be about. So I'm gonna give you some background before I tell you, which you probably already see the title, because of course, I mean, it's posted now, but I'm gonna give you some background on it. 2021 was actually or was it 2020 when I first started filming the podcast? Well, 2021, I think, was when I filmed my last episode. And if you know me, 2021 was the year that my dad passed away, April of 2021. And I can honestly say that was the year that my next cycle of healing began, even though I didn't want it or I didn't know, like, during that. So the past 3 years, I have been on the next leg, I should say, of my healing journey because, again, say it again. I know y'all are tired of hearing me say this, but healing is not linear. Healing is layered. You will be healing from things, especially if you've dealt with trauma, probably for the rest of your life. And if it sounds like I'm crying or sounds like I've been crying, that's because I have been. And, it is what it is. We're here now. So the past 3 years have been hard on me. And I'll just be honest with you, like, because I'm a Christian, I was so mad at God. Like, y'all ever been through something that it just make you be like, now God, why would you do that? Like, you getting on to God, right? Like, you're getting on to the Heavenly Father, like the Heavenly Father is in trouble with you now. And so I'm just like, I know God ain't doing this back to back to back to back to me. Like, it wasn't just that my father passed away. It was hit after hit after hit. Like, my cousin passed away, and then a month later, my cousin passed away a month later. A month after that, my aunt, who is my uncle on my dad's side, his wife passed away the month after that. And then their daughter, who I have been so close to, like, she was such a staple in my healing journey when it first began. And so when her mother passed, of course, grief will take you to a place that you never knew existed in your soul. Okay. And I can honestly, truly say you don't know the Lord until you have hit a dark night, a dark world, a dark room, a dark area in your soul. I can honestly say that you don't know the Lord until you really hit that rock bottom of your soul. And so I felt like my friendships and my relationships and everything was just falling apart all around me. I could not see. Like, when I tell you that I know what depression is, like, I knew what depression was before. But when I tell you that I knew what functioning depression was, the past 3 years is what I'm talking about. Like, the past 3 years, I was able to function in my depression, but be seriously depressed. And I knew that the only thing that let me know I was depressed was when, you know how, like, you'll lay in bed on a Saturday or like one of your off days or whatever, and you just want to sleep in, and it comforts you sometimes to sleep in. But those days when I would sleep in would be so depressing. Like, the ruminating thoughts and the I don't have a future thoughts, and the thoughts of just there's nothing, there could never possibly be something good on the other side of it. Like, there's nothing beyond this point. I can't see beyond this point. That was the only way I knew that I was in a depression and experiencing like a dark void, like a dark night. I don't even know how to explain it, but just like a dark, the darkest of dark areas in my soul. And so I was mad at God. I'm not even going to play with you. Like, yeah, I felt I was going to church, and I was, well, technically, yeah, I was going to online church, because we was still heavy in a pandemic. I was going to online church, and I was, still being kind and still being nice and encouraging people and going to work. I was functioning. But the only way that I knew that I was really in that dark place was if I laid in that bed too long, here comes those thoughts. And it's like, I cannot stay here. Like, I literally cannot stay here. I would have to get up and go to Starbucks. I would have to get up and take a shower. I would have to get up and brush my teeth. Like, even if I didn't feel like taking a shower, I would just be like, if I could brush my teeth, like, if I could just brush my teeth, I'll feel so much better. And I don't know if any of you have ever been there. I pray you haven't, because it's so not a fun place to be, trust me. But I feel like it was necessary for me. And so for the past 3 years, I was in that, and I was mad at God, and I wasn't talking to God. I wasn't praying. Um, I didn't really see purpose in it. Like, my friendships became challenged. I, would get easily offended at anything. Like, my best friend would say, I would get easily offended at work. I would get easily offended with anybody that was in my life. My mom, like, you name it. I was so easily offended by people. Like, I would just think that people were, bashing me behind my back. And, even though many of that may be true, a lot of that before I went through that dark space would have just rolled off my back, because like, I don't care. Your opinion of me doesn't matter. But in that season of my life, I just was sensitive to everything. And I finally got to a point where I believe it was one relationship or situationship, whatever you want to call it. I don't really say it was a relationship, but even though the other party, he probably would have told you that we were in love and in a relationship and about to get married. So, but it was when that relationship or situationship ended that I realized, okay, something, like, I give up. Like, I don't even want a relationship. I don't want to get married. I don't want kids. Like, everything that I had ever thought of, dreamed of, whatever. Like, I don't even want to be an influencer. I don't even want to be, which it was never my goal to be an influencer. It was just always my goal to be effective and to help people, because I had been where they've been. Like, that was always my number one. So, but I knew that God had a plan and a purpose for me before I went through this dark night. I knew that. But when I went through this darkness of my soul, it just began to be like, I don't want to have a future. I don't want to have, or like, I don't want to have a future. I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to make content. I don't want to film. I don't want to do none of that no more. And so even like the community, my TikTok community. If you are here, hey best friend, hey, being super honest and transparent. But I know you guys can attest that I even was like, look, I'm done. Like, bye. This is where I stop and get off the bus. Y'all continue on y'all's healing journey. It's been good. Like, we've been cool. And, I went to my cousin's wedding in 2022. And it was after I had posted that basically I'm bowing out video on TikTok. And one of my other cousins, Israel, what's up, girl? If you're listening to this, I know you're gonna remember it. She was like, I follow you on TikTok. And I was like, yeah. She said, so why are you leaving? She said, what, is it because I'm a man? And when I tell you, just offended. Like, what do you mean? We was in church and I could not cuss her out like I wanted to. I wanted to cuss her out, best friends. I wanted to cuss her out. But I was like, no, I just feel like, that part of my life, that journey and that part of my life is over with, and that season is done and dead and gone. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm very sure. Like, I mean, I was probably giving her neck. I probably rolled my eyes. I don't know. We had to change the subject real quick because I was so mad. But everything that she said to me, like, I even went back to the hotel room and I was like, I can't believe she said that to me. Like, it stuck with me. And I really believe that God used her in that moment to really speak life to me and to remind me that, he didn't say it was done. Like, I just gave up because I was in a dark area in my life. So I, life goes on. It's 2023. I'm dealing with different people and how we cope with different stuff. And I'm just like, okay, to, I don't want to continue to get my hopes up and be disappointed. I don't want to continue to think that this is what God has for me and I'm disappointed. So I'm just going to just say, forget it all. No, I don't want marriage. No, I don't want kids. No. And then I started even what was revealed to me later was that I was allowing bitterness to set up within me. And see, what I want you to understand is that when you're going through such a dark time in your life, in that darkness, other things can start to develop within you, like bitterness, and you don't even recognize it. Bitterness will start to develop within you. And before you know it, you're speaking from a bitter place. And I'm telling you, I just got this revelation, like 3 weeks ago, y'all. 3 weeks ago. And I literally have just had to like lay. And you're hearing this in October. So it's September now. So there is some time between, but I'm like, are you serious? And I'm the type of person, like, if you tell me that I'm wrong, like, if I don't think that I am, but you show me evidence that I am, I'll be like, oh, okay, dang, my bad. Like, oh, I was wrong. I know how to take responsibility for my actions. I've never been one to shy away from that. When the Lord revealed to me that I was operating from a place of bitterness and that I was bleeding out, and that even though I was still filming content, and even though I came back to that platform, and even though I was doing it in the name of self-love and doing it in the original vein of what I felt He was leading me to do to help with the healing of women and men, the bitterness from where I was at was spewing out. The bitterness from what I had gone through, the bitterness that just had developed, the bitterness of things that I had gone through probably within the last, year and a half. Like, I have been in season 1, I told y'all all about some crazy relationships. But within the last 3 years, I have dealt with some that were straight up crazy. Like, I'm talking about there could be a snapped video, or not snapped video. There could be a snapped episode made about what I went through. the summer of 2022 was literally dating someone that was physically abusive and who had murdered their ex-girlfriend. And there are literally articles out about him. I'm not going to say his name, but there are literally articles out about him. And was literally like afraid for my life in 2022. So the bitterness from that. And then another door opens and I did not heal. I'm going to be honest. I did not heal from that. I did not heal from that relationship. There was a lot of shame attached to it. There was a lot of shame. There was a lot of, oh no, I believe that he's a good guy. Da 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 da. When my family told me, they were like, we could see in his eyes he's crazy. Like, we could see it. Like, how come you can't see it? And when I had to tell my family all together, this man has abused me, and they could see the bruises, the shame of that, and then laying in my bed and afraid to go to sleep because I was afraid that like he would come through my window or something like that because he was that crazy. He was that crazy. Like he used to knock on my window and say my first and last name at my window, like bang on my window. That crazy. So I did not heal from that. I thought I was. Because you know how we get like, oh, I got this. Like, I've done this before. I know what to do. Like, it's kind of like when you lose weight and you know the way to do it. So when I lost a lot of weight in 17 when I went vegan and I lost like almost 100 pounds. So when I gained it back in 2020, 2021, all the way to now that I'm on my journey, you know, you'd be like, oh, I know how to lose weight. Like, I did it before. Like, I lost 100 pounds before. I know what I'm doing. Like, I know the way. I know the steps. So that's how it was. Like, I know the steps of healing. I don't need to heal. I don't need to go to a counselor. Like, I already know what they're going to tell me. Like, I've done been through this before. Like, I already know. Whole time, bitterness just growing. And then fear on top of that. And then here comes another door that swings open and somebody tries to come in and acts like they're one way when they're really another and they're really a scam artist and all of that. And I'm not here to talk about the other people because it's not about them. But I'm just wanting to give y'all backstory. So these people, hold on guys, sorry. These people that came into my life and wounded me, let's just say, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to continue on. I think I got this, you know, just pride on level 100, really. Like, y'all want to talk about somebody prideful? I was so prideful, apparently, and I didn't even know that. And that's what's so crazy. You don't know what you're going through. Isn't that crazy? And then I'm not praying because I'm already mad at God, but I'm still going to church. I'm still going to church. You know, I'm raising my hands, but at the end of the day, because that was what I knew to do. I knew to do that. I knew to go and pray and get on my, to pray in the church. Like I knew to, but it wasn't that connection. There's a difference when you have that relationship with God and you're praying to God and you're literally being blunt and honest with the Lord. Cause that's the only way that that's when he know my prayers are real, is when I come to him like, Lord, what's up? Like when I'm me, that's when he knows. And so all of this is festering on the inside of me. And the Lord reveals that I'm bleeding on the people that I need to be helping. And then revealed to me that there are actually men who need healing, but they're not going to receive you because you are bashing men. And there are words that you can say that might help a man heal, that might help a man realize that, you know, because all men are not bad. All men aren't dogs. All men aren't out here cheating. All men aren't out here bullying. Yeah, all men are out here bullying, beating, and just being a loser to women. And so the Lord is like, I put a word in you, but you're bitter. I need you to clean that out. I need you to get it. And so then when I realized, because I know I've been long winded, but here it is. I was talking to my best friend, April, and we were talking about relationships, and I was going off, and I was like, not on her, but to her. She's my sounding board. Like, I don't know where I would be without my best friend, April. Next to the Lord and my mama, April is like, she's always there. Like, she hears me out, and so I'm cussing about it and I'm pissed. That's how you know I'm mad. Like, if I'm talking to you and I'm venting and I'm cussing, oh baby, I'm pissed. So I'm cussing and I'm like, no, men this and men that and da 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 da, and I can't stand it, and this is why I'm gonna be single. And she was like, I understand that. She was like, God did call some people to singleness. Bless her heart. She's so sweet. She's like, God did call some people to singleness, and I'm cussing and fussing and gone 90 to nothing. You hear me? And her boyfriend just so casually walks in and just gives her a hug, kisses her on the cheek. And he's like, hey, Faith. And I'm like, in the middle of cussing about men. And I'm like, oh, hey. And it was then that I was like, I'm gonna let you go so you can, enjoy your moment. And I got off the phone and I was like, huh. She understands everything that I'm saying, yet she's open her heart to receive this man, and they're in a good place. And I know they're not perfect, but they're in a good place. Am I healed? That was literally the moment where I was like, am I healed? And then I began to think about every piece of content that I made, honestly, where I had bashed men and where I had men in my comments like, if you're bitter, just say that. Jason was one of them. Like, Jason's so cool. Like, we're cool in real life. Like, we're cool. And he was like, if you're bitter, just say that. Like, if you have been cheated on and da da da, and just say that. And I'm like, no, I'm not bitter, but the whole time I was. So I began to ask the Lord, no. Sorry, I need to go back. Before I got off the phone with April, I was telling her, I said, I feel like God knew I was going to get to this place, because if I'm going to believe he's sovereign, and I do, if I'm going to believe that he knows the end from the beginning, which I do, there's no way he did not see this coming. Nothing I've been through caught him by surprise. She was like, yeah. So I was like, he wanted me to be single. He wanted me to hate men. He wanted me to, like, I'm like, I'm making my case, okay? I'm like, God want me to hate these people. Like, God wants, it's for God that I'm hating these men. And I mean, I would have people tell me, pray about it. And I'm just like, I already prayed about it. God agrees with me. Like, because don't tell me to pray about it. I am not there. Okay. And when I'm ready to pray about it, I will pray about it. But you don't tell me to pray about it. Like, I was so prideful, y'all. And I can admit it now, because I done had to cry it out and repent, and I'm walking this healing journey. But I was like, God is sovereign. And so I began a search and basically a, what's the word? Gosh, I began to study the sovereignty of God. And it just began to help me. And it began to open my eyes to see that God was actually, like, with me the whole time. Nothing I've been through was a surprise to him. First, I was mad, of course, because when you first get that revelation, you're just like, okay, well, then why did that have to happen to me? Because you could have just, it could have just went another way. Like, we in our pride, we think that we know better than God. Like in our pride, we think that we know what would have healed us way better than what our Heavenly Father does. So I was like, it could have happened a different way. Like I would have been healed if you wanted me to be single, just, whatever. You could have just gave me that revelation first. You didn't have to have me go through an abusive relationship. You didn't have to have me go through relationships where, I was in love and I wanted to marry this person and this person just dumped me out of the blue. Like you didn't have to do all of that. Like you didn't have to break my heart. Why would you break my heart? You didn't have to put me in this situation where shame was just, you know, where I was just so ashamed because everybody knew that I liked this one person and this one person just made it so awkward every time I saw like, you didn't have to do that. You could have just said, Faith, be single for the rest of your life. And I would have been like, all right. But in reality, he did have to do that because he did have to get me to this point, not to where I feel like I'm going to be single for the rest of my life, but to where I could know that in my darkest moments, he's there. In those moments, even though I say I didn't need to go through that, I needed to go through that. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil because thou art with me. You are with me. That is why we go through those things, to know that God is with us. But also, it's not just that he's with us. It's because he has a purpose for us. Do you really think that I would be able to get on here and do a season 2 of Beauty is a Beast podcast without going through that, without knowing that like there's something else, there's something else that maybe you or someone else that's going to listen to this needs to hear, that can relate to, but I wouldn't have been able to relate to it until I went through it. And so a lot of times we go through things for our purpose in life. And so realizing that God was sovereign, even though at first it was hard for me, what I did not allow him to finish revealing was that his sovereignty not only means, yeah, I'm not surprised by what happened to you, all the bad stuff, I'm not surprised by that, but it means what the enemy meant for evil, I will take that and I will make it good. It's not just that, yeah, I sat back and I watched them abuse you. It's, I knew you were going to go through that abuse. I was with you because I didn't let it kill you. I didn't let them kill you. Because he could have killed me. But the sovereignty of God says, I was with you and I walked you through that. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to make it good. And the person you're going to be after that is going to give me so much glory. Because I'm going to be able to use your story and help someone else. There's going to be a woman out there, a man out there that needs to hear that their story does not just stop here. And just because they are mad at me, that does not mean my hand is off of them. Just because they're not talking to me, that does not mean that I'm not still walking with them, guiding them, and ordering their steps. I'm going to try to tell you this one last story before I run out of time. I might have to save it for another episode, but my boss's boss came to our factory and he's going through a divorce. He's been married for 25 years. He's always on the road and he's in the highest position in his field. And he's lost so much weight. And I told him, I said, you lost weight. You look great. And he said, honestly, Faith, he said, it's because I'm going through a divorce I didn't want. And it's because I'm always away from home and she couldn't call me and tell me that this was what she was thinking about. And I was like, you know what? Maybe the word of the week, because I always write a word of the week on my dry erase board. Maybe the word of the week is for you. And it was about God's sovereignty. And he was like, I'm just having a hard time believing that when one door closes, another opens. And I just want to encourage somebody out there that when one door closes, it doesn't just open. God is so sovereign that he's going to allow that closed door, that door that made you feel insecure, inferior, and like a piece of nothing, God's going to use that and he's going to make it so good for you. And I know it's hard to see right now because you're in it, but God's going to make it so good for you. Don't give up because he hasn't given up on you and he's still with you. So I want to hear from you, best friends. There is a link in my bio where you can submit your stories, you can submit your questions, even if you have a comment of something that we said here on the podcast and you just want to submit. I would love to hear from you. You know, I've said that I wanted to build this community of women that just have each other's back, but I just want to build a community of people that have each other's back, that loves to see each other win. We want to see each other heal. We want to see each other do and be our best selves. So I just want to hear from you. I mean, have you ever been at that place, in that dark place, and you just felt like, I don't see anything on the other side of this. I don't see what the next level could be. Number one, if you have, I just want to encourage you that next is coming. And if you are in that place where you feel like you don't see a tomorrow, if you feel like you're in a dark tunnel and you don't see the way out, you don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, that is a sign of depression. And even though I'm not a therapist, that is a sign of depression. So if you do need to seek help, there are so many there's so many resources, and if you need to reach out to me and I can help you find those resources, please do. I would love to help you. But also there is I believe a survey. No, not a survey. What is it? There is a poll, a Q&A, a poll, Q&A, something like that you can leave your feedback as well. Season 2 is different. I am a different beast this season, and you're going to see that. And I'm so happy that you're along this ride with me. So thank you for listening to episode 3. I will see you in the next episode.